What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another random movie review channel. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Chase, and let's talk about one. So the one I want to talk about is Elusive. Now, this one's actually on Amazon Prime Video and Vimeo to rent. And go support this film. It's a smaller film, so go support it, show it some love, regardless of what I'm about to say. So what is this movie about? A mysterious cryptozoologist and his dim-witted cameraman embark on a search for Bigfoot. So that's your movie right there. And you're probably wondering yourself, why this one? Because if you look it up on IMDb, it looks like a smaller film. And you're probably thinking, like, how did I find this? And like, why did I want to review it? Full disclosure, I know the composer on this film. This is not just like some acquaintance. I've known this man for almost 20 years of my life. So the thing is, I will always support my friends and their art and their ventures because I went to film school. I know, I knew how important it was to have people watch your work and like critique it, and like just you wanted that feedback and you wanted to, have people support it. Like I totally get that. So I asked him straight up. I said, "Hey, listen, I would like to review this film, put it on the radar on YouTube, and just." Have people go to it, whether they like it or not. I wanted to help you out, but at the same time, if I watch it, I'm going to give an honest review. And he said that's totally fine. He asked the director. The director's cool with it. So, and also the thing is, like, I asked my friend. I said, "Could you pitch this movie to me? Like, what is it like?" And he's like, it's like as if The Office meets like a show on Adult Swim. Perfect. Even if he was not involved, that type of humor is up my alley. The kind of offbeat, weird, kind of just kooky, just weird humor. Love it. And so, just with that synopsis alone, and kind of like tone, I was all over it. And also, I never watched the trailer, so I saw the poster on IMDb. Also, love it. Love the tagline: "A tale of sex, drugs, and Sasquatch." How can you not like immediately want to jump into this? So, with all that said, caveat, disclaimer, everything going into it, I can tell you as mockumentaries go. Hi, it's me interrupting me, and I just wanted to take a break to thank the sponsor of this review, Movie Palette. Movie Palette takes the concept of the movie poster to the next level. Movie Palette consists of stripes of colors carefully chosen by their team of artists. Every stripe represents a color of a particular scene in a movie and is put in chronological order on the canvas. There are so many movies to pick from, and it doesn't even stop there. They also have whole seasons of TV shows. I recently moved and I needed some things to put on my wall, and I was getting tired of putting up traditional movie posters and wanting something different, and Movie Palette stepped up to the plate. The movie palette that I chose was one of my favorite movies of all time, Logan. This gorgeous palette is a constant reminder of how beautiful this film is and how each scene evokes a different emotion all through its language of color, not to mention a great conversation starter. This is a unique piece to any film and TV lover's home, and I want to help you get one. Use the discount code CHASE15 for 15% off of any product on their website. Film is art, so why not display your favorite as such? That's 15% off of your order when you use the code CHASE15. I like it. It's a good one. And typically movies that are this low budget, trying to be comedies, a lot of them just don't work for me. A lot of them try too hard. I will say this movie's not perfect. 60% of the time, the comedy works. I was actually laughing out loud several times. There's a lot of clever jokes within the scene that the characters are doing. The framing is appropriate. I love the depth of field shots and the interview shots, and there's a joke happening in the background. A lot of that stuff was really creative, and like 60% of the time, it works for me. But 40% of the time, I felt the scenes drag on a little too long. I felt some of the jokes kind of play out their runtime. The punchline happens and they kind of kept trailing, or the punchline was happening a little later. So the journey to the landing was not smooth. It was a little bumpy. So excuse me, I just hit my table. I thought about 40% of the time it did not work, but a good portion of this film I was laughing out loud, and I applaud them. That's really hard to do. So good for them on that. So in terms of comedy and mockumentary style, some really creative camera work and directing choices and dialogue and just scenes work for me 60% of the time. What I really appreciate the most is actually the story and some of the deeper rooted issues with some of these characters and why some of these characters are doing it. Because when you see a movie like this, it's like, okay, it's a mockumentary. It's about this small little town, like this cryptozoologist is going around like interviewing people about Bigfoot sighting, and like, yeah, that has the opportunity for like these interesting and kind of weird and kooky characters, and it really kind of makes up the personality of the town. But also, I love the pivot at the end of the second act, kind of bleeding into the third act, where we got to see a little bit of why this main character is doing what he's doing and why he's making this documentary. It was really touching. It was sweet. It was warm, and like I felt really really bad for that character. Like that was a good pivot that I didn't see coming. I thought these were just going to kind of be, funny characters and not really have any depth to them, but that caught me off guard, and I actually really appreciate it in terms of like character growth, and it worked for me with the story. Um, and then also at the very end, really well done in terms of the actual like suspense factor and the terror that kind of seeps in the atmosphere. It kind of reminded me a lot of Blair Witch, and one of the last shots of the movie, really great makeup work. So once again, like this movie, like, yeah, it has some kind of dull spots, but there's a lot of great things about it that I can just see the passion, the creativity behind the camera, on script, the performances, everything. So I appreciate it from that level as well. But really interesting character work, and I like the story from that standpoint. It adds just a little bit more to it, and it caught me off guard in the best way possible. Um, as far as performances go, I think everyone actually has pretty decent comedic timing. Not everyone like knocks it out of the park with some of their jokes, but I was actually pretty impressed with the main character, the cameraman, all the town folks, the sheriff. Like everyone had their own unique personality that they brought to the table. No one was stepping over each other in terms of jokes or line deliveries. Like it was all just a fluid effort, and the ensemble was really great. So I really appreciate that. The camera work was also pretty nice. Usually with these types of films, you know, the budget is so tiny, like you're not going to have red cameras or black magic cameras, or sometimes you're just not. Now I totally understand that. I've made movies on an iPod before. I get it. Um, yeah, it looks pretty nice, especially for a movie of this low budget. It wasn't bad. I really liked it. I like the locations that they utilize. It really shows you a sense of scope and just the land and the woods, and like, yeah, I liked all that for the most part. So you're probably wondering, like, am I going to grill my friend on the music? No, I'm not actually. You know what's really funny about like stuff like this is that I don't know if this was his headspace because I haven't asked him about it. As soon as the movie started, the music is happening underneath while the cryptozoologist is kind of explaining like why he's doing this documentary. He's searching for Bigfoot. He's in this town. It sounded like Unsolved Mysteries. Do you guys remember that show with Robert Stack? Is that the host? I love that show. I watched that all the time growing up. Probably shouldn't have watched it, but I think it was on the Lifetime network. It was just mysteries that were unsolved, and the narration and the atmosphere was all creepy and unnerving. Like I love that show, and I remember that theme ever so clearly. So what my friend did in the music department is that he made a similar kind of sounding musical bed for the scene, and it makes it funnier because the thing is with the music on this, if he actually counteracts it and goes as serious as possible, it makes the comedy just that much funnier. And so I applaud him on that front because for the majority of this entire film, the music is actually like pretty dead serious, but it made me laugh harder, especially with the opening, with the host coming in and you have the music underneath. And it sounds like Unsolved Mysteries. I was cracking up, and I was like, awesome. And like all the other musical accompaniment to each scene, it elevates the comedy because he's playing it so deadly serious and everything else is not. It works. I love that kind of like friction that you have. It just makes for a more dynamic comedy. So no, I'm not going to roast him because he did a pretty good job. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. Is it perfect? No, it is not. Is it funny all the way through? No, it's not. But you know what? If you're looking for kind of like just the kind of like the Adult Swim type of humor, I think that's the perfect way to describe this. Check it out. You might like it. And honestly, the ending of the film, wouldn't mind the sequel. Go support it. give them money so they can make a sequel. Because honestly, like, this is the type of film that also reminds me of like when my friends and I made films in high school. We did it because we liked doing it. We didn't care if it was funny to other people because it was funny to us, and we had a fun time making it. You could see that passion through the screen, and it made you enjoy it even more. And I could see it with these guys. It looked like everyone had a blast working on this. So, yeah, it might not work for me 100%, but it was a pretty fun time. So let me know what you think of Elusive. Check it out. I'll leave the description down below in terms of where you can find it, and go support it. If that is your bag, I think you might like it. So that will do it for this review. Thank you for tuning in on this random movie review channel. I am Chase, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.